In Harikrishna, and they're already started here, David.
They have already started. We're only a few moves deep, but it is the Spanish opening, the Roy Lopez, that is signified by White's light square bishop coming out early. White's light square bishop now on the edge of the board, pinning the black knight, actually just trading itself off now for the black knight. And you can tell Eric, he's going to be devastated by that last loss. He was in charge against Pragnananda. Look at his face, hands on his head now. He's still remembering the ghosts of that defeat, and it was a tough one.
This looks a lot like Hansen of the Masters tournament just some weeks ago, and when he gets into these funks, it transpires into his games as well, doesn't it, Simon?
Yeah, I mean, it's tilting. Again, something in poker, which happens far too often when I play. And Magnus is really good at this. Magnus, he loses a game, he nearly always bounce back and win. But it's that psychological thing. You lose a game, but you shouldn't have lost. You think about it too much. You've got to get it out your head. If you don't, it will affect your next play. And I hope Eric's capable of forgetting that game and bouncing back here.
Yeah, he needs to, but he is quite good with the white pieces, especially in the opening. We talked about this a bit yesterday. Everything's pretty much mapped out. He knows his opening repertoire inside out. He's been playing the same opening since he was 7, 8 years old, so he knows everything pretty much up to move 10, 15, 20. So I think it's a good thing for him after bouncing back from a tough loss that he'll be able to just get his pieces out, get a solid position, this pawn push, just controlling some squares, stopping black's light square bishop from coming out. And also, I think style-wise, it's quite nice that he's playing someone against Harikrishna who loves his endgames, loves his longer games. Eric will get a bit of time to kind of warm up, get back into this one, get over the emotions of the previous defeat. Meanwhile, both sides have castled their kings, developing their pieces, and with this last pawn push, it looks like Eric, he's getting ready to throw pawns forward in the centre, maybe just trying to trade some stuff off, trying to kind of clarify the situation. Black has the 2 bishops, but Black's pawn structure not ideal for now. Very, very balanced opening.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we get a chessable course from Eric as well at some point. I mean, I think he'd do a brilliant course on how to play 1e4, because you mentioned he's played this all his life, and he's very dangerous with it. And I know Harikrishna has also done at least one course. I know he's done one on how to beat the French defence. I think he's maybe even done another endgame course. But Harikrishna, not much has been mentioned about him. Really nice chap, done some commentary of him before, and he really understands chess. He's a really good positional player, and in the ending, he's up there with Magnus Carlsen as being one of the best endgame players in the world. And we see now both sides manoeuvring their knights around here.
Do you think we're going to see something really ambitious from Harikrishna now? The Black Knight has just retreated, and
yes,
to me that always signifies, Jovanka thinks yes, to me that always signifies in the current position that Black is about to pump forward, throw forward his f-pawn just to open up a line for his rook. And if he does this, then the centre will explode. It's just about whether Black's pieces are ready. Normally this signifies a kingside attack for Black.
Very key game, actually, isn't it, this one? If you look at the standings, Harikrishna is in just about in qualification place, in 8th place. Let's remember, half the field go through after tomorrow. And Eric, yes, he lost, but if he bounces back with a win here, he's still got a great chance of qualifying. So you can see them 8th and 9th. What a big match for that qualification. This could really, turn things. So I think Harikrishna, the way he's going to be thinking, he's probably thinking, I know this sounds a bit cruel, but I'm playing one of the lower rated players. Yes, I've got Black, but this is the guy I should beat. Yeah. So he might take risks.
And he's also in 9th place as well, Eric.
That's right.
A key, basically a key rival,
Key game.
Yeah, in football, they call this a 6-pointer. So, for example, if Harikrishna wins, he'll be 4 points ahead of Eric, pretty much clear of him. But if Harikrishna loses, he'll be 2 points behind Eric. So there's a 6-point swing. And, crucial for the standings. OK, not throwing forward that black f-pawn. Slightly disappointing that we would have seen fire on the board there. But very logical. Harikrishna first, just developing Black's light square bishop. And now the white knight heading to a decent square. Actually, this white knight, quite often in this pawn structure, wants to go to the edge of the board. It's kind of counterintuitive. We normally say knights on the rim are dim or grim. But the white knight wants to park itself on the A5 square in front of Black's isolated pawn there, just going towards the light squared bishop. White would love to trade off one of his knights for one of the black bishops right now, but Eric shaking his head. Yeah. He's still remembering the last game.
He's got to get it out. I mean, how do you do that, though, Dave? Because this is big error. I've got a very emotional player, and, I lose the game. I think about it far too much. I mean, any advice, Jovanka or David, how you can just forget about it?
Yeah, you know, I have some advice, but, you know, it kind of depends on your personality. What I try to do is I try to kind of meditate it out and just give myself like 10 minutes and then just kind of figure out what is the story I'm telling myself, you know, why am I feeling like this? And then afterwards, put it away. But then I know that some people don't feel that. They have this rage and it just, you know...
I get the rage. I normally, I used to just get smashed, basically. I found that was quite a good way to forget about it. Don't do that anymore. But David, I mean, yourself, I mean, you
I mean, I used to be very, very emotional. There were some trashed hotel rooms and the like. But I think just a few years ago, when I was maybe in my 20s, I realised actually you've got to get a balance of caring, not caring. And I just try and completely turn off my mind. Meanwhile, I do feel Eric, unfortunately, he is tilting and he's just playing too fast at this early stage. It's already critical for white. Look at the black pawn structure in the centre. Black's pawns are all flying forward and Eric, it's uncharacteristic for him to play so quickly, first of all. Normally he needs his longer thinks just to feel out the position, to calculate a bit. But, I mean, second and most important, I just think he's skipping past the critical moments. The position is about to open up in favourable ways for black, and already we talked about this black f-pawn pushing forward. Not only has he got that, but the position is about to become perfect for this unrivaled light-squared bishop. And, OK, after this pawn trade, I'm expecting something that you highlighted earlier, Simon, but with colours reversed, the black queen to come across. This is very typical. I think I've had virtually this exact manoeuvre before in my own games. The black queen is going to come out, look at the white king, but not just that. I don't really know what white is doing. If white ever trades pawns here, you're only helping black get rid of the double pawns, and there's so much pressure against this central pawn here. It's got the two bishops, it's the open line for black, it's the queen coming to attack the white king. It's all about black right now. It's just been a dream opening, and Harikrishna has actually played that move, the most natural move in the position. The queen's coming in, and Eric's in big trouble already.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all.
It's like such a beautiful position for Harikrishna, and Eric in serious trouble, and he needs to just think things through and try to do some patchwork. But whilst we're waiting for Eric to come up with a solution, I do have to share with you a really cool selfie that we got from Robin of the Hood. And we love receiving selfies. Always remember to take them in landscape mode. But get this. They are watching our show and they are thanking us because it helps distract them from the pain of doing a chess tattoo on a tropical island in Indonesia. A chess tattoo. I mean, just take a look at that.
So, yeah.
No, but just take a look at that tattoo. It's so cool. Oh, I love it, Robin of the Hood. And yeah,
I want to see an after picture of the tattoo.
Yeah, well, definitely.
Really.
Tweet us the after picture because that is really, really nice. And yeah, you're welcome. And we're so glad that we're distracting you from the pain.
Yeah, maybe we need to see some chest tattoos. If anyone's got any out there, I know we have a friend over in Gibraltar, Craig, who's got many chest tattoos. He's got a pawn all across his hand there, big chest pawn. But I'd love to see some chest tattoos.
I know he's got a tattoo of the name of your website, Simon.
On his bottom, yes. Thanks, David. Let's not go into that night. It was a long story. So, Torquay British Championships, yeah.
Yeah, no bets involved whatsoever, right?
Do any of the top chess players have any chess pieces tattooed? Because often, you know, when you see the Olympians, they all have the 5 circles tattooed.
And actually, it's a common question that comes up when we're just hanging out with chess players. I mean, I've struggled to name any chess player inside the top 100, 200 in the world with a tattoo, any tattoo. I don't know what it is. Maybe chess players they're thinking about. I'm very tempted just to become the first. But
I've got a tattoo, but I'm not in the top 100 or 200, so I'm a long way off.
Do you have a chest tattoo?
I don't have a chest tattoo. No. Maybe one day. Yeah, I'll be tempted. You know. So, any tattoos?
No tattoos.
No tattoos. OK. Ivanka, would you be tempted?
No, not at all.
No.
I'm too fickle person. You know, I get really bored.
Chess players,
too much of a commitment.
Yeah, we're thinking too long-term. Chess players, we're wondering what it will look like in 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
That's actually the reason why I haven't got it. Because I'm like, I might not like it in 5 years.
Yeah, that's true. We get lasered off, can't you? Or just get a bigger one over the top, you know?
Yeah.
Get bigger and bigger. No, but yeah, I'd love to see some chest tattoos anyway, if anyone's got them on Twitter.
Meanwhile,
I'm looking at the current evaluation now. It's saying that Harikrishna is starting to to also take a computer grip in addition to having the more human grip on this game. And do you value it about the same way as computer right now?
Yes, unfortunately for Eric, I completely agree. We were talking about the human aspect where Black had very simple plans, the better pieces, the kind of logical, easy, smooth way to start an attack. Black's queen is about to come out, as we indicated a few moments ago. And the computer's showing that those plans are still about to happen, but Eric hasn't really found a way to fight against them. This rook move, what does it do simply? Yes, I understand that this white rook might end up on an open file, but everything on this B file is protected. So what is this white rook doing? I think there are other priorities. And once the black queen joins the party, once the black queen comes out, I'm expecting the g6 square, looking down at the white king, white pawn in the middle of the board, the e4 pawn, loose. It's all turning against white.
I just wanted to point out one thing, because I'm looking, we were showing it earlier here, just the standings, but I just wanted to point out that right now, the difference between 8th and 15th, 8th and 15th is only 3 points. It's one win separating. Even Ariantari, who's now in 15th, is in the running of getting up there. That makes it interesting to follow the others. I recommend, if you want to follow the other games as well, you can also go to Chess24 and get an evaluation there for the different ones, because it's really exciting right now. Look at this, with Harikrishna at 12 and Ariantari at 9.
Everyone's pretty much got a chance then, right? I mean, obviously Gwaine a little bit out of it, unfortunately, but that's incredible. You know, someone gets a roll of wins, they can qualify.
I was trying to introduce the term moving day for day 3 to you, David. Right now you can see what I'm talking about.
It's definitely moving day. And, I mean, look at all the arrows as well, the green arrows, the red arrows. Players have been swapping places left, right and centre. Yeah, I mean, what an exciting few days. It's all about now who can string together a couple of wins in a row. I mean, if, as you mentioned, in 15th place, if Ariantari wins 2 games in a row, he's probably right up there. So, yeah, hopefully an exciting photo finish for tomorrow in the prelims. But meanwhile, one move from Harikrishna, and he's just retreated Black's light squared bishop. So maybe not the most incisive move, not the most direct move. Black just keeping his bishop nice and safe. And yeah, if Harikrishna wins this one, he's got to be one of the favourites to qualify. He's got that kind of style as well. It's so hard to beat Harikrishna. He's so solid.
Yeah, he's one of those players you say just understands the game.
He knows where the pieces go.
He knows where the piece goes. He's very experienced. He's been playing, a lot longer than Eric in tournaments over the board everywhere. He's got a good chess education, and he'd be very happy with this position. I mean, it's still, he has got a nice position, but there is a thing turning a nice position into a win, and I think that's a trouble that a lot of players have. They get a nice position, but at some point you've got to pull the trigger. You've got to do something very dynamic often, and it is nice. But how does he actually convert? I mean, after bringing his queen out, for example, does he just sort of wait? Let's say if Eric can remain patient himself, maybe with like a3, David. Yes, you bring the queen out here. Let's say white defends with queen e2, maybe. I don't know if that's the best move. Yeah. Where's you have to do something a bit aggressive at some point here, don't you?
At some point, and I think that's what Eric needs to do. He needs to force Harikrishna to pull the trigger at some point, put the pressure on him to be accurate. But the problem is, in this type of position, I don't think Black needs to be accurate. I don't see what White is doing simply. So, for example, as Black, I would be tempted to just shuffle the Black king into safety in the corner. At some point, when the moment's right, you bring the Black knight. I don't think yet, but you bring the Black knight in to attack the central pawn. The reason I say don't do this yet is because maybe White's knight can come to the edge of the board and annoy the Black queen. That being said, maybe the Black queen could just capture a pawn in the centre. I mean, everything just looks so good for Black. Yeah, if I just throw the question back at White, what are you doing? And this is what I like to do in chess in general. If your opponent's doing nothing, just improve your pieces, tuck the king away to bed and say, what's your next move? And it's not easy. As you mentioned, Simon, this pawn is the weakness. The queen and rook now, the two white best pieces are tied down, protecting a mere pawn. That's never a good sign. And actually, Eric's done that instantly in the current position. He's brought his queen forward. So now both of these pieces tied down just to a mere pawn. Yeah, here, Harikrishna, for sure, at some point he's going to bring his queen out. For some point, he's going to tuck his king away. And, OK, first he trades a set of pawns. Slightly surprising to me. I don't think he needed to rush.
Maybe he can move his knight now, though, I guess. Is that the point before the knight was kind of defending it? Yeah. I don't know if he moves it straight away, but this might be the logic behind it,
right? At some point later, he can move his knight in now. Yeah, I'm just slightly surprised to see For example, now if black does take too much time, at least the white rook is going to get some targets. Suddenly lines have opened up slightly. And when I have the two bishops, I just want to stabilize as long as possible. So in this position, I would just want to maintain the status quo. Normally it's the side who is fighting against the bishop pair who needs to accelerate the play, who needs to open up.
But talking about accelerating the play, you know, Harikrishna's gone for gold directly. You know, he's simply attacked the pawn.
I mean, can Eric play a very aggressive knight move here?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of looks logical, Jovanka, right? I mean, you want to change the pace of the play because you're defending. Can you now throw the white knight towards the king? I think this is both our first faults, right?
Just to show your idea here, Simon, this is under attack now, this pawn, so you can defend it with your knight, but also try and go on the attack, trying to jump in to this square maybe, into the black camp, hitting this rook. Getting complicated. I think you're right, Eric has to try something like this, because what else? If you don't jump in with your knight, go on the attack, then you're reduced to passive moves. Maybe this one, just defending your pawn, but oof, it just feels ugly. Yep, this knight jump, we want to see it. That's maybe what Eric has to go for. Low on the clock as well now.
Yeah, 8.5 minutes to Harikrishna's 11.
Okay, he does.
He doesn't play that. Instead, he just moves the queen.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, this one is understandable. Just defending everything. Now the white rook at the bottom of the board defends the central pawn. Everything's holding together for now for Eric, but Harikrishna, he can build up this pressure. He can move that black king. I just want to get it into the corner. The black king's slightly vulnerable on a diagonal, so why not hide out in the corner? The black queen will come out. The problem for Harikrishna here, too many good moves, too many options, too many choices, and he's played quite quick up to this point, Harikrishna, but yeah, that's the dilemma. That's when I slow down, when my position is too nice, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to spoil it, I don't want to touch anything, it's all too perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. It's quite annoying changing a beautiful position into a concrete kind of position. And I think that is the problem that black has, though. It is a nice position, and it's still like you have to do something else here to get a substantial advantage. Moving the queen out, as you say, David, maybe you can get hit by the white knight. Yeah. Could you maybe move the queen all the way out? I mean, that's a useful move to play, getting it nearer to the white king, something like that. But it doesn't look totally clear to me at all. Yeah, okay, I can see black's got two bishops, but white's going to get counterplay with that open file that you mentioned, David, very soon. So it's not totally clear, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I still love black's position. I think it's fantastic, but maybe it could have been even better. I do think suddenly the white queen is on a better square than she previously stood on. Black's knight, I understand why Harikrishna put it there, but it was just a one-move threat. I think this is a common mistake that players make at all levels, especially when they're first starting the game, is they often make just one-move threats that actually, if their opponent guards against successfully, it worsens their position. Sometimes you have to think a bit deeper. You can't just attack with one piece, and when your opponent says no, then get stuck for ideas. You have to kind of build up as part of a longer-term plan. So that's what Harikrishna's trying to formulate right now. And, okay, part of the longer-term plan maybe was to bring the knight towards the white king. And here it goes, also opening up the black rook on the f8 square, which I quite like.
Yeah.
So attacking chances.
Definitely. And, we always like it when a knight appears on the f4 square. Mm-hmm. Aggressive intentions, spice of life.
I feel bad, though, for Eric Hansen. He's probably the happiest guy you find outside of his chess games. And then you look at him playing these games here, and he looks utterly, completely depressed.
Yeah.
Chess is suffering.
That's a quote that's been used many a time, isn't it? Chess is suffering, simply. Don't need to add anything else onto that. But it is really hard to explain the emotions of chess to a non-chess player. I know a lot of people who've had relationships with people who don't play chess, and they lose a game, and their girlfriend or boyfriend be like, "Why are you so miserable?" And it's really hard to sort of just explain to them how much it means. Yeah, it's just that's it. That's the worst thing to say. Your partner or someone says, "Why are you so miserable?" It's only a game, and it's like it's my life. It's everything. It's like So it's incredibly
But for me,
hard.
the worst is there. You're still a great chess player. I was like, oh no.
Do they give you a little pat when they're doing it as well, you know, like on the head?
Yeah.
So-
No, but I've actually tried to control that part of my my chess being, because I thought, you know, it's actually not my partner's job, and I don't think any chess partner's job to actually sit there and try to cheer them up. I think we should be mature enough to actually, just to think about things, process the emotions ourselves, and move on to the next game.
But I've actually been really impressed with Jovanka today, because twice she's been saying that she's enjoying this bishop or really playing with this piece. I don't play with pieces, I just suffer pieces. Like maybe that's my problem. Everything feels like it's bound to fall down and go bad at some point. Whereas I really wish I could approach that part where you see like, oh my, this piece is so strong, I'm just going to use this for all it's worth.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, I am an observer here. I am a spectator. I can sit there and watch the games, and we all can enjoy it, and we can throw the pieces away. We're like, hey, why didn't he sacrifice this? Why doesn't he do that? But the reality is, when you're sat there over the board,
And I think
it's true. There's
there's
some
something
suffering.
about age. We were talking about age earlier, and it's. I think when you're young, you have no fear, right? So you look at position, you're very optimistic about it. But as you get older, it's like, oh, hang on a minute, I'm worried about this, worried about that, and you're more worried about things as you get older. So you're not quite as confident as you get older. I think that's kind of a natural development.
I think you definitely take defeats harder, take it more personally when you're older. You think, oh, I've spent half my life studying for this one game or building up to this one game, and it all went wrong. What's wrong with me?
We're making it sound so great, aren't we?
But it's beautiful when you win. It's beautiful when you win. And OK, meanwhile, a few moves have happened as predicted. Black's queen did come out to the g-file. White has tried to kind of plug the line towards the white king with a knight. And now, OK, Eric's taken a timeout as well to improve the white rook, as we indicated a few moves ago. And if we jump in just to show, I think, a very easy, natural kind of continuation for Black. There's two moves that I want to play. Both involve getting this knight into this glorious f4 square. One is to jump in first. Viewers at home might ask, why not just jump in to attack the queen? Also, some threats towards the white king side, maybe. But this knight can be eliminated, and it's just about whether the two bishops here are superior to the two white knights. Here, I think they are, but you do lose a lot of flexibility without your own knight, without the black knight being an attacking piece, and that's why, actually, if we just rewind, after bishop takes bishop, which was played, suddenly the black knight jumps in now. So you don't have the bishop pair any longer, but you have this fearsome attacking knight. And
we know what's coming at some point. Yeah.
This pawn at some point is going to destabilize white's knight, kick it away. For example, if white is too slow, then this pawn will push forward and immediately is winning, because yes, the white knight can jump back, but there's going to be attacks on this square. For example, the black knight now can come and check, win this pawn, hitting the white king, because it can't be captured due to a pin along the g-file. So Eric, in the current position, whoa, he's just put his queen on this square. I was about to say he needs to gain time, give a check maybe, at least force black's king away, gain a move with which to defend, but instead he's put his queen on a different square. He's put his queen on this square, on f3, but what is it doing here? It's just a target for black's rook, but also a target for black's bishop. I don't really understand, I must confess. At the very least, black can maybe even take this pawn at some point.
I think he was slightly worried about maybe knight takes pawn moves. I'm thinking of the pawn on g2, actually.
Okay.
And he just wanted to avoid that, so that's why he put his queen on this ugly square. But you're right, there's like something in the air. This is where Chessable author and grandmaster Yasser Sarouan goes, ooh, my spidey senses are tingling.
Yeah. If you have one of your own pieces, especially a queen, stared down at by an opponent's rook, it's never going to end well. And OK, the pawn push did happen. As Simon indicated, this knight was kicked back, and there's going to be a trick at some point. The white queen is going to drop to the black rook. I just feel it. And
I even don't understand that last move. But maybe he had to play that. That's the problem, because otherwise you'd lose the exchange. But white's pieces are getting kicked to horrendous squares. I mean, no future that knight now.
Yeah, so at the very least, black can just take this pawn, bring another piece into the attack. If he wants to build up, he can just move his rook forward, bring his other rook across, double things up against the white queen. It's just glorious. You can win this position quickly, you can win it slowly.
Maybe you can bring your bishop to life with a d5 push in the middle.
Explode things open.
Just get that bishop pointing towards the king as well. There's so many good moves, right?
I love Harikrishna's move. And just as I was trying to get in his mind, and yeah, he would never dream of taking a pawn. He would never dream of allowing his own pawn to drop because he is obsessed with control, Harikrishna. That's his chess style. And therefore, he moves his pawn up 1 square and he wants to bring his other rook across now. Yeah. Full control. I'm surprised the evaluation bar's down to under -1 because it looks like black is completely, utterly winning now. And, OK, white pushes the pawn forward and the black rook is going to join its buddy.
Incidentally, you know, I just saw an article actually from Chessable author Alex Kolovich, and he was talking about this type of rook defensive move. And he kind of said it was in the style of Capablanca, the way that Capablanca played those endings, you know, instead of allowing his opponent any form of counterplay, he's just like, no, control the position first and then continue with his plans.
Yeah. It's just good chess.
Yeah.
Controlling squares, stopping the opponent's ideas.
Yeah. All the black pieces just look so well placed there. There's nothing, I can't see anything immediate, so you might still have to bring in another piece. That's why I want to do the central break. Just bring the last piece into the game, the bishop in the corner.
Bishop, yeah.
Where's white's hope here?
That's a good question. I think actually white's move at some point, not right now, is to just move the white queen across 1 square and offer a trade of queens on the g file. If the 2 queens disappear, some chances to save the game. So I think he's got to hope that he can survive to the end game, Eric. This middle game is ugly, so it's all about surviving till the end game. Yeah. If he does survive, if the queens do come off, then maybe the momentum will change. Maybe we'll see the trend switch around. Harikrishna will be kicking himself, actually. If he doesn't convert or if he doesn't gain a kind of decisive advantage in the next 5-6 moves, Harikrishna might get frustrated.
But with a 0.8 evaluation, there is a way, right?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything immediate, though. I mean, it's strange because it looks visually so good because all of black's pieces are sort of in the right squares. But I can't, there's no, like, crash, bang, wallop, and say, like, you know, way to break through that I can see here. So you still got to win this position.
The one thing that's worrying for me, I think maybe that's influencing and maybe kind of pushing my judgment even further in black's direction, is that Eric, just for about 1 minute there or half a minute, he was just looking away, head in his hands. He wasn't even looking at the board. I think if he were, now he's refocusing, but if he does kind of calm himself down and kind of forget about the last game, forget about the opening in this game, then he'll realise he's still alive. And OK, Eric just about to make a move, but if we show maybe what he could try, for example, if he tries to swap off queens now, this is a mistake. He tries to trade queens because after a queen trade, there's a knight fork hitting the 2 rooks. So I think he has to prepare this. I think he has to move one of his rooks out of the way. I'm not sure exactly where, but for example, one of his rooks lifting it up, and next move preparing to trade queens. And it's still going to be a difficult endgame, difficult defense ahead, but he just has to look on the bright side. If the queens come off, he's still alive.
Yeah, I guess you have to play some rook move to defend. Maybe you can prepare that idea by, OK, do we have a move? OK, by playing the move you play, David, or pushing it 1 square even further forwards. But something sensible and defensive is not Eric's style, though. He doesn't like going on the back foot, but he has to.
He has to. And like you said, there's ideas like pushing the pawn forward, breaking open this bishop, breaking it out of jail. And I mean, it's on such a good diagonal if things open up. Also, actually, just looking at it, maybe black can even get flashy here, Simon, and play queen takes pawn, giving away a knight temporarily, sacrificing a knight, but at the very end of this variation, there's rook takes pawn, checking the white king, taking the white knight.
Tactics, I miss those things.
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
took me a while to see that one, but I think that's the direct threat in the position.
So Eric has to tread very cautiously, actually. If he wants to play this queen trade idea, then he has to step forward with his rook 1 square.
Yeah.
But it's such a hard move to play, and there's downsides to that as well.
3 minutes left as well. He's not comfortable. That's the problem.
Happy.
No.
And I think it's harder because Eric isn't a full-time player. He streams, he does other stuff, and he mentioned it last month, right? I think to you, Sarah. Just the opening preparation, he's just not there. He doesn't have a big team around him. Doesn't have the same time, resources.
He doesn't really focus at it at all. He was saying how it's so hard to know when the invitations are going to come, and he loves the ability to play here in the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour, but it's hard to put together a team if you're living in complete uncertainty, and I can understand that. I mean, he has created a whole new entrepreneurship and businessship that does take a lot of time, and I can see how getting back into those 8 to 10 hours per day of hard work, that's tough.
It is, yeah.
Really tough.
And it's also hard to balance it because, as we know, as we just discussed, chess can be quite painful. You know, if you're not winning, things not going your way, it's actually can be not very enjoyable. You know, winning is enjoyable when you're at his level, and he's got a career streaming. You know, easier career. He's very popular. He's very good at it, and that's kind of like, I'm not going to say the easy option, but maybe the more fun option as well. So it's like you kind of have to dedicate to being a chess player to compete with these guys, definitely.
Yeah,
So,
you also kind of need a team around you to take care of all the mundane stuff. And like I know Eric recently moved from, I don't know where he was, but he moved to Toronto. And, you know, that again takes up energy. You have to sort out your equipment, you have to sort out basic things, and it takes time.
And his NHL team, Calgary Flames, lost last night in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I know that hits Eric more than it does most people.
Yeah,
and that's actually no joke. That actually matters to him.
Yeah.
Chess players are superstitious, so if your favourite sports team loses, you have a feeling it might not be a good day.
Or he could have been out commiserating as well. You know, that probably doesn't help. So.
Do you think that I was just going to say, here he comes? You know, I was going to say, well, now that the knight has come backwards,
such a natural
sign,
move,
sign to go forwards.
Literally, if you look at every single one of the black pieces, they point towards the white king. Like the black queen points towards the white king, the black knight is super close, the black bishop's on the diagonal, the black rook's pointing down towards the white king. It would be a miracle if white saves this.
I mean, there's got to be a killer blow now, surely. I mean, you know, you can just take the pawn if you want to, go pawn up, but it looks like, you know, there's something here.
Yeah,
I mean, everything's now working for black.
I'm trying to look, but you're right, Simon. Worst comes to the worst. You have the backup option of just taking white's central pawn for free with your own pawn, one pawn up and with the attack. Long term, that should be winning. Maybe there's something else to do with a knight jump right now.
Yeah, I think you should just capture that pawn. It's for free, up for grabs, like you say. And also, the great thing, if you capture that pawn, you actually secure some squares for your knight.
Yeah, so if we jump in, and actually that has just happened. So in the current position, the queen was attacked. Finally, Eric is offering this trade of queens, but I don't think Harikrishna is going to oblige him and say yes. I think Harikrishna is going to run away. There's plenty of squares. I'm not sure the best one for black. I would be tempted to actually swing the whole way across just to kind of stare down at the white king on this diagonal, but no matter where you go.
I really want to make E3 work here as well. But I mean, you know, just because
in this position, pushing a pawn.
I don't think it really achieves much. But I just want to get the bishop in the game. If you go queen takes queen, there's a nice little idea of pawn takes pawn check or
Simon,
something. Or
what about this one? Check.
I like that
Actually,
one.
maybe your one's better,
but this
I want to checkmate with a pawn.
Oh, yes, that is pure pawn. That is checkmating with a pawn. That's obviously what I meant by that.
Checking the king, and also look at this bishop cutting off the escape squares.
Yeah.
That's glorious.
That is sexy. That is lovely. So, yeah, very nice stuff.
But that's going to be my new expression, go-to expression. That is pure pawn.
It's a pure pawn checkmate. I don't know what you're thinking there, but, you know, it's just it's a pawn checkmate.
He didn't go for it, unfortunately. I mean, I don't think it was the best move. White would have had options to defend, but now, as Jovanka mentioned, this square is beautiful for the black knight. It's a nice outpost in white's camp. It's what we call an octopus, an octo knight with its tentacles everywhere. And yeah, this would be winning. Another option for black would be to lift his rook up maybe one square, swing it across, and go for white's queen, white's king. No, he chooses the most natural option. This black knight dominates the two white rooks, and I think we're in the closing stages of this game now. Black's piece is just too strong.
Yeah, I think so. There's nothing to be done here, is there? So.
At least Eric has temporarily blocked out that black bishop. That black bishop is only staring down at its own pawns. But, yeah, I mean, the white knights, especially that white knight on the edge of the board on h2, does not make a great impression. And Eric, yeah, he was kind of slapping himself slightly there. He knows that this is going to be another loss, unfortunately. And in a way, he kind of lost it himself. He didn't recover, and it was a bad opening. And it all came down to that last game, the previous round. Harikrishna, he's done nothing wrong, played very smoothly, just slowly improved his pieces, and I think that's a good tip for players of all levels. If in doubt, no matter what your opponent's doing, just slowly improve your pieces, especially if you feel a bit of weakness from them, a bit of impatience.
And what do you think about Eric's last move? You know, he's just said, fine, take the rook, but I'm going to push Harry one square. You know, when in doubt, push Harry. But I don't quite see what he's trying to do other than
Me neither.
I didn't get it.
Block up the dark squares, I guess.
I mean, I think black can take on f2 next move as well. I mean, if he wants to. I mean,
So the rooks are coming in, the black rooks.
I mean, every move was pretty bad, so it's...
Yeah, right now black is up a rook and a pawn just for one knight. So that's a decisive material advantage, but also you have the attack. Yeah, that black rook's coming in, maybe.
I know it's just a saying here, Ivanka. I'm just curious, that whole when in doubt, push Harry, has that become more true after that whole Alpha Zero thing going on and how the H-pawn is just turning into a monster?
Yeah,
or has it always been true?
No, it hasn't
Simon's
always
been saying
been.
it for 20 years.
Simon is the pioneer here. He has been advocating Harry for a long time.
So it's him and Alpha Zero, pretty much.
Yeah, the thing is, though, you know...
Drunk Alpha Zero.
Well, the thing was, like, Simon was... OK, so we do see the rook takes pawn. Simon, you know, he was advocating it quite strongly, but people were kind of like mixed minds. It was like, yeah, that's fine for you, Simon. You have an aggressive style. It's very intuitive. But not for me, thank you very much. And suddenly, when the Alpha Zero started doing it, it became like, oh, hang on a second here. if Alpha Zero is doing it, then maybe we can do it too. And and it just revolutionised that way.
I think it's amazing, though, how a computer changed how humans think so much. How this program literally changed how humans, over how many, you know, hundreds of years of thinking about chess, changed it in like a space of a week, changed their thinking about chess, and that is incredible, really, to think about that. How
and not
big
that many games even.
Yeah, I mean, just you know, just Alpha Zero just played. You know, it was a course of a week or so, wasn't it? And it changed humans' perspective on the game, which is, you know,
literally
remarkable.
Immediately revolutionised so many top players' games.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone was going down the same openings, the same drawish lines. Suddenly, no, we can push our rook's pawns. It's in every single position. Go on the attack in weird, wonderful positions. Sacrifice material, which computers never ever did before, really.
Yeah.
And it's.
But it must have been also great for, especially you guys. You've spent so much of your life with chess. You've worked so much on chess to see that computers doesn't necessarily have to be a limiting factor. It could actually be expansive and actually broaden the game as a whole.
Yeah, I think that's probably life nowadays in general. I mean, rather than acting against computers, we've got to act with them in nearly anything we do. Like, again, poker is the same, isn't it? I mean, like, but in work situations, you've got to try to use them as an ally rather than sort of an enemy, I think. And it's especially true in chess. But it's nice because it was always the topic, can computers have emotion? Can they be creative? That was something which was very fiercely debated, like going back 20 years. But now it's kind of shown that they can be creative and they can do creative things that humans can't do, which is you know, a big change, I think, in civilization as well, really.
Yeah, just as you were talking, Simon, Harikrishna is down to 30 seconds now,
oh, wow.
which is very surprising. His position is so winning. All he needs to do is trade queens, for example, which I think he can do by force. White's knights are not that great right now, but is Harikrishna getting nervous? OK, up to 1 minute, maybe there was a bit of delay there, but either way, maybe some chances for Eric. OK, the white knights at least defending each other, getting coordinated. Have we written him off too soon? Harikrishna, I think, out of all the top guys, maybe he's one of the least comfortable, kind of playing when he's under 1 minute, under 30 seconds. Over the board, when I've played him a few times, he does slightly panic because his instinct is to keep control. And in rapid chess, when you're low on time, in a kind of imbalanced position like this, sometimes you can't always keep control. Like Simon says, you have to kind of finish things off. You have to calculate a bit. You have to take a small risk sometimes to win the games.
Well, he's playing in a very materialistic fashion, though. You know, he's put his rook on the third row, maybe going for the A-pawn. And, you know, he's kind of saying, yes, white, you have a fantastic queen in the middle of the board. But, you know, if you move it away, like Erik Hansen's done, it comes with consequences. And now the black queen can also mobilise, attacking Harry the H-pawn. That famous pawn.
Yeah, there's a big
Even
check
bigger
as
threat.
well, isn't there? And I'm not sure how white can defend, actually, here now. I mean, like...
Queen has to drop back,
well,
right?
but then there's a tactic. Is there a tactic there, maybe?
Yeah, maybe we can show this big threat on the board. Eric ticking down to about 1 minute, but the big threat is the queen coming down to this square, backed up, supported by her rook. For example, if white just plays too slowly, the queen's coming down, check, hitting the king, picking up the white rook on the next turn. And as Ivanka mentions, I think strictly the only way to defend against this threat, this check, is to bring back white's queen. You also defend this pawn in the process, but now all of the white pieces are just purely defensive.
Did you know what I thought black could play here? I thought black could play rook takes f1 check, which doesn't work for so many reasons. It's not even a good move. I don't know.
Rook is not even attacking this
I know. Well, that's also a problem. So it was like, wow, that's that time of day.
Yeah. So the problem is that every single piece for white, the knight, this knight, the rook, queen, they're all purely defensive, and you're down on material. So black can take his time, black can just grab this pawn, black can bring the bishop into play slowly. Simon, you mentioned eventually you want to remove this defender. It takes a while, but hey, Eric lifting his rook up the board instead, if we go to the current position, and yeah, at the very least, black can just take off Harry the h-pawn and be materialistic here. It's very, very winning at this point. It's just about the clock.
Maybe just move the rook down to pinning and winning.
Nice, Simon.
Could be the end of the game.
That would be brutal. The black rook coming down, pinning, and if the white knight takes this rook, you actually win both of the white knights now in one swoop. You play queen takes knight check, and he's done it. He's about to win both white knights, and he's going to emerge with an extra bishop for free, and with the attack. So yeah, this one is going to be game over any moment. Harikrishna about to be a clear piece up.
Is there maybe any queen? The queen can come and give a check. So Eric has tried that.
Okay.
The king moves away.
You also got bishop d5.
You can even block it with the bishop, like you say.
I mean, you're just moving the king if you're short of time is probably the move to play if you can't calculate blocking with a bishop. But
this bishop block is very effective. If the white knight takes this bishop, then queen, queen takes knight check, and we're about to see a result. This will end in checkmate. The white king is not going to escape from this attack.
It's very
nice
checkmate,
Eric
actually.
resigns.
Yeah.
Eric resigns, and that throws